Ahoy, it is a Sunday night. I don't know if I'm starting the podcast or not, but hello. So, fresh new week. I'm going to try and read more. But first, I just watched about 5 episodes of the new American Horror Stories on Hulu, and my friend is asleep, so I have to purge my thoughts somewhere. Okay, I'm going to say spoilers, and I'm going to get into it for one of these episodes in particular, episode 5. With, I forget her name, but for Carrie Fisher's daughter. So if you don't want to be spoiled for anything, sorry. Okay. So far, I like it okay. The first 2 episodes were 1 and 2-parter, which I thought were, like, really good. It was, like, a complete story. Well, not really good. That's exaggerating. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think I'd think that if I didn't like American Horror Story proper, or if I didn't have, like, investment in the murder house thing, because that's what it was about, was murder house. Yeah, it was a pretty solid story. So then I get around to episode 5, and basically I'll give you the rundown. It's a woman and her husband, and they're trying to have a baby, and it's been years, and they're just, like, not getting pregnant. And they're at a fertility clinic, and the lady at the fertility clinic gives them, like, a magic totem. It's like, oh, this is going to summon like a god of fertility, and he's going to, like, help you get a baby. And then it's like, okay, turns out it's not a fertility god. It's like a crazy demon who wants to take the baby. All right, sure. And it goes on, and then it turns out, and again, spoilers, it turns out the woman's husband was gaslighting her with all of his friends to get her money to basically, like, have her deemed insane so he can divorce her and get the money, and because she's very rich and whatever. And then it turns out the demon's actually real, and in my brain I was like, oh my god, if this ended with, because the husband actually got the wife committed, so, like, if this ends with, like, the demon killing all these jerks who did this, and then the demon and the wife get together, that would be, like, weird in a way that I think Ryan Murphy would do, and I thought it'd be fun. So that's what I was hoping for in the last 5 minutes of this, was literally because the husband got caught for what he did, and all of his friends got murdered by the demon. So I was just like, oh my god, in a perfect world, this would end with the wife, like, getting with the demon monster. Because that's, my brain is so messed up that that's, like, the first thing I thought when, like, the demon popped up. I was like, oh, she could just be with him. I'm not proud of that, but it is what it is. Okay, so yeah, so the wife, it ends, and the husband's in prison. The wife gets out, and she's got the baby, and she's in the house. And it turns out she had done a spell to bind the demon to her. And the demon's like, let me go. And she's like, oh, I will. But first, I want you to give me another baby. And then it ends with them having sex, which I'll take it. Sure. Okay. I like demons, as you've probably figured out. Big fan of demons. Anyway, I think I have 2 more episodes, and I technically have to go back and watch episode 3 because I did skip it because I read the premise and it sounded dumb and I wasn't in the mood. So I'm going to keep on trucking till the end, and then I might circle back. But yeah, those are my thoughts on American Horror Stories. And the new season of American Horror Story is going to start soon, but it's aliens and vampires, and as much as I love vampires, it's gonna not be good. I could just feel it. It'll, like, the ads look dumb, so I'm not looking forward to it. But we'll see. I have a friend who watches it. Sarah doesn't, because she has better taste than I do, so I can't talk to her about this. I want better for her than to listen to this. So that's how that's going. Okay, on to the book stuff. I have my goals for the week, which I'm hoping I meet. I probably won't, because this week's a little busy for me. Not as busy as last week, which Sarah says that's the reason I didn't read a lot, but I just feel like a loser, so we'll see. Okay, I actually finished a book tonight. It's I read Chasing Cassandra by Lisa Kleypas. That's a historical romance. Someone on BookTube recommended it, so I thought I'd try it because it was different than Tessa Dare. Worse than Tessa Dare, as it turns out. The basic premise is the same kind of premise as a lot of these historical romances. It's a cold-hearted man who decides he can't love or doesn't want to love, and a soft-hearted, kind woman who wears down his rough exterior. That's exactly what it was. I wouldn't recommend it because it was fine. It was just really boring. It was 8 hours long on audio, and, like, the climax kind of happened at 5 hours, and then the rest of the book was pretty boring. Like, nothing happened but them, like, getting married and stuff. And I thought that was weird, and I didn't like it. But, okay. Here's what I'm currently reading. Alright, I started The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater because that's just, like, a classic from when I was a teenager, and I never read it. And I don't actually know why. I sort of know why. Okay, I read Maggie Stiefvater's first book, Shiver, that whole series, the werewolf one. That was the first thing she ever came out with. I read it when I was 16. I had just moved here to Arizona from Kansas, and I was horrendously depressed, so I was reading a lot, and I didn't have any friends. And I think, because I met Sarah when I was 17, and we went to the same school, and we were in the same classes. And she said that when I first moved out here, which was junior year, we didn't become friends till senior year. When I first moved out here, she said that she would see me because I wouldn't eat lunch because there wasn't enough time for me to eat lunch because we had a ton of students, and I wouldn't have had time to eat, so I just didn't eat. So I would sit instead on these, like, stone steps, or not steps, like a stone thing or whatever. And she would see me reading all the time, and she tells me that she, like, wanted to go talk to me, but she didn't, I think because she thought I wouldn't want to talk to her, which, I don't know, it might have been true. I don't like people very much. But yeah, so I think she said she saw me reading that one, but I remember very distinctly reading, like, very, very PG sex scene, but I was in front of other people, and I was just, like, cringing, because that's who I was when I was 16. But I didn't like those books very much. I didn't think they were good. What I did remember also is that was the first time I'd ever read a dual POV, and all this is a really long tangent to basically say the reason I didn't read The Raven Boys is because I didn't like Maggie Stiefvater's writing. There was a weird thing when I was young in which if I had a book, I would read it regardless if I was enjoying it or not, and I would also buy the sequels regardless if I enjoyed it or not. I had a lot of books that I read, and it's like, oh, that's a thing I read, so I have to buy all the rest of the books in the series, and I don't do that anymore, but I did that with that one. But I didn't move on with her. And then, so, cut to 2 days ago, I started The Raven Boys, and I know this is, like, a huge favorite, and I don't want to upset anyone. I always hear the people on YouTube doing, like, disclaimers for if you like a book and they don't like it, how they don't want you to feel bad. It's not like a comment on you as a person. So I guess I'll do that. Like, I think I'm too old for The Raven Boys. If I had read it when I was 16 or 17, I probably would have liked it more, but I didn't. I'm 28. I think I'm a good chunk in. I'm like a quarter in, and I'm going to try and finish it because I don't like to judge books this early on, and it's like a huge classic, so I want to give it the best shot it has, and I'm not liking it very much so far. I'm finding it kind of pretentious, and I don't know if that's the point. The plot, if you don't know, all I do know about it is that it's like 4 boys and a girl, and they're looking for, like, the body of a dead Welsh king or something. And the girl who I'm the most interested in, I think her name is Blue. She's like some kind of witch or something, or she's like clairvoyant. And there's this like thing with her where she's destined to kill the first person she loves, and she's gonna like kiss them and they die or something. I know that if there's people watching this who've read that book, I know I just butchered it, and I'm sorry, but I didn't read the synopsis. I just read it because everyone read it. After The Raven Boys, I have also started Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know the plot of that one either, other than girl moves to a small town, and I think their mascot, which is a clown, starts killing a bunch of students, like teenagers. I'm hoping I like it. It's pretty short. I never do well with like thrillers or horrors, but I'm crossing my fingers, even though I haven't heard anyone say anything positive about this. I like the cover enough to hope that I enjoy this book, so I want to buy it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, I haven't really got into it enough to have an opinion, but I'm hoping it gets more interesting. Yeah, so reading Clown in a Cornfield. Wish me luck. Pray for me, because it's probably not going to be great, but, you know. The next, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I have also started this. I started it before. I had gotten about 2 hours into it, but I stopped. I've started all the way over. I think it's been a year, and I started at the beginning. I like it so far. I like the little pirate thing in the beginning. That's about where I got to. I'm hoping there's more with the pirate, because I love pirates. I love anything ocean related, which I'm sure no one's guessed. Okay, and then I'm reading Phantomheart by Kelly Craig. Kelly Craig wrote those Edgar Allan Poe young adult books. I don't know how many people know about them. It's a trilogy, Nevermore. And I'm not reading this Phantomheart book because it sounds interesting. I'm reading it, honestly, because I like Kelly Craig as a person. She's really sweet. And I want to support her, so I'm giving this one a try, even though I'm trying to get away from young adult for the most part. It's a Phantom of the Opera retelling, kind of, but like in modern times. And again, that's all I know. So far, it's a young adult paranormal. I don't have much to say about it, and I definitely don't want to say anything negative if those thoughts arise, and I won't. So just know that ahead of time. If I don't like it, I'm not going to say anything bad about it because I really like Kelly. She's so sweet. She's so nice. So deal with me being nice. Okay. And the last thing on my list this week is Malice by Heather Walter. That is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, I think from the point of view of the Maleficent character, the wicked witch lady. As far as I know, it's not supposed to be like a Disney retelling, because so far that character is different. Her name isn't Maleficent, but Sleeping Beauty's name is Aurora, which I think is just from the Disney version, but I haven't really started that one yet. I think I'm like 5 minutes in. I just wanted to like get a feel for it. It's an it's an FF fantasy kind of romance retelling, and I'm pretty sure that the Maleficent character, whose name actually, whatever it is, escapes me. I'm pretty sure she's like closer in age to Aurora, so I don't think it's going to be like a problem. But I was a little worried about that because I'm pretty sure Aurora is 16 or 17 in this, and I don't know how old the main character is. I'm not necessarily like way opposed to like a 200-year-old witch and someone younger, but I don't like it when the younger person is under 18. Like, I know a lot of people have problems with like Rhysand and Feyre because I think he's 500 and she's 20. I don't care. When it's something that's like out of the realm of possibility, I kind of like dismiss it in my head, and like, but not like an example of that I don't do. Like Angel from Buffy is 200 and Buffy was 16, which I thought was gross. Maybe not when I was like 10 watching it, but now I don't like it. But I don't know, if a character is over 18 and the other person they're with is like hundreds of years old, it's like, it's so impossible that it's like cancels it out for me. I understand if other people don't agree with that, because like sometimes I don't even agree with it. So I'm just saying that I don't know how old they are with this. I don't know what the age gap is. If I remember, I'll pop in and say it. But those are my reading goals for the week. I'm really hoping I can at least get 3 of them read. I really want to finish The Starless Sea because that one took a really long time for me to get to the library, and waiting again is going to be a pain. And I have a Karen Slaughter book that I'm waiting to read, and then a Sean McGuire one that's only about 6 hours long. So there's a chance I'll get through that. I'm not sure, but wish me luck. I'm actually going to watch more American Horror Stories and regret my life decisions. So anyway.
Hello, and welcome to another vlog. So, since this is a new vlog, I figured I'd explain what's happening with Sailor again. Sailor's one of my rats, and she's been displaying aggressive behavior. Basically, what she's been doing, the rule with rats is no blood, no foul. So basically, rats, they have a hierarchy in their mischief. I know, it sounds funny, but they do. And Sailor's not the alpha. Walsey is the alpha. And basically, rats around 6 months old, which Sailor is, can sometimes display hormonal aggression, both males and females. That's not popularly known in the US, but both males and females can have hormonal aggression. So Sailor here decided, me and her are having a very lonely free roam right now because she's separated from everybody. She's in that cage over there because I can't trust her with her mischief at the moment. She got into 3 fights with Humdrum where she drew blood, and there's at least 3 moderately serious bite wounds, like not in need of stitches, but I can tell they're bite wounds basically. She's not doing well. Rats are very, very social, and they need companionship, but I tried to put her sister in with her and she attacked her too. So rats sometimes, like usually, won't attack their litter mates, but it's just not safe with Sailor. But she's going to the vet today so that she can get spayed. Not today, unfortunately. She needs to do a checkup first to make sure Sailor isn't going to die under anesthesia. which there's no guarantee for. So it's always dangerous to put your rat under anesthesia. But when you have an aggressive rat, spaying, neutering should always be your first course of action, because a lot of the time that's the problem. It's medical, it's not behavioral. So that's what's been going on with Sailor. She's not acting like herself, and I miss my moody girl. Like, having a mischief of rats is kind of like navigating high school drama, but like as a teacher or parent, as opposed to a student. It's kind of hilarious. So, and she also got into a fight with her sister's Anvil. See, I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's a lot to deal with. And I really hope I can get her spayed soon, because I just don't want her to be alone for too much longer. She doesn't do well alone. By the way, I have no idea what happened here. This is like a scratch or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm in the middle of Take a Hint, Danny Brown, which I'm enjoying quite a bit, actually. Probably about on par with Chloe Brown. I like that Danica has a religion that's not overwhelming. Like, a lot of people write someone who's religious. Like, this author's really good about giving people personality traits without making any individual trait their entire personality. So, like, she's religious, but she's not just the religious character. And she really, really likes sex, but she's also an academic, which is not a juxtaposition you see very much. So I really appreciate that. So yeah, she's just good at having well-rounded, fully realized characters without any one trait becoming their only trait. And I enjoy that. That'll keep me reading, even if like the books themselves aren't my favorite, because like I don't really care about the sex. But I will be reading Eve Brown as well, but there's a 24-week wait at the library. So yeah. I have finished Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Probably give it 4 stars. Like I said, I like the complexity of the characters. I like the way she just layers their personalities, because a lot of authors would have been like, okay, well, she's a witch and that's her personality, or she's into sex and that's her personality, or she's an academic and that's her personality, without realizing that none of that is actually a personality. These are scratches. Sometimes I get cut up. It's fine. Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I look forward to Eve Brown. I didn't really like Danny that much, but I didn't dislike her either. She was just kind of the portal for the rest of the book, in my opinion, even though she had quite a strong personality. I also find it interesting because I just read Written in the Stars by, I remember her last name, it's Bellafleur. Alexandria Bellafleur. And that book is very similar, like the plot points are very, very similar to Danny Brown, and reading them back to back was, I didn't know they were going to be similar, but I don't recommend reading them back to back. But I enjoyed both of them, so chances are if you've read one but not the other, you'll like the other. So, you know, give it a go if you want. But yeah, I'm going to start The Governess Game by Tessa Dare next, because with the way my library works, I can space them out enough that I won't get bored with them, and they're fun, so I figure I'd read the next one, see if I like that one. Hello, Say. Would you like a treat? There you go. That's a good baby. She's gone. So, just got back from the vet with Sailor. Here's Cappie. So the vet said she's healthy. She's a good candidate for being spayed, which is good, because she's a happy murder rat.
I see her in there.
Yeah, she's getting territorial down here. So like, she tried to bite me when I took her out. And by try, I mean she clamped down. She just didn't draw blood. Why are you so cute but so deadly?
That's how it always is.
Speaking of, you can't have these.
Where's the cute in that, though?
Excuse me?
She's mean. She's too mean to be cute.
She's adorable. But yeah, she's very stressed. She's a stressed little baby. Her surgery is next week. Long time away.
She's just staring like, why are you doing this?
I can't get too close because she might bite. She'll still have free roam. It just means Mama's got to get creative.
And my babies are sleeping stacked on top of each other right now, peacefully in their hammock, because I only have 2.
Yeah, so like this is an example here. Can you hold that? I can't reach into her little house without getting bitten. But in here, just reach in. Like I can reach into here and button bright. See?
I should come out of the hammock.
Yeah, days. See, like they're gentle, they're sweet. I reach in there, I get bloody fingers. But look at her. She has good smoosh face.
I can try and pet Sailor. Look at her in there. Look, do you see her little eyeballs?
Well, I'll still pet her. I'm gonna make it work because she deserves it. But she's just also murderous. She retreats. All right, that was this rat update.
So it's 3 in the morning on Monday night / Tuesday, and I'm filled with rage. I'll start with what I'm super mad about, and then I'll move on to the things I'm not so mad about. Okay, so I wasn't enjoying anything I was reading, so I thought I'd switch to something else, and I started A Touch of Darkness by, I think her name is Claire Saint something. I'll mention it next time I talk about it. It's a modern Hades and Persephone retelling. It's really boring. I'm like more than halfway through. It's nothing's, I don't care about anything happening. I really don't. And I wasn't enjoying it. So I thought, okay, I'll try something else. And for a while, I have been meaning to read Lord Olympus, the little webtoon, also Hades and Persephone. And I thought, oh, I'll do this because I can get through a bunch of them fast. And I'm going to be spoiling it now. So if you don't want spoilers, click away. And now that I've said that, trigger warning for sexual assault, because I was reading it, minding my own business, and for absolutely no reason whatsoever, they decided to have, whoever the author, I think her name's Rachel something, decided to have Persephone get raped, which upset me. She lives with Artemis, and Apollo is Artemis's brother, and he was over and sleeping over, and he snuck into her room and raped her. And I don't know why that had to happen. Like, Persephone had like vowed celibacy, and she literally had just said she was a virgin, and then he rapes her right then. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, why would you put this in here? And I finished that chapter, and then I started the next chapter, and she was upset, and she called Hades, who she just met, because she didn't want to be alone. So they talked, and she was upset in that chapter. And then I read another 10 chapters, and it's like the rape never happened. She doesn't seem affected at all. It's not like getting referred to. She hasn't told anybody. It just, there was a rape. And then she was sad for 1 chapter. And then it's like, now I'm going to try and get a job working for Hades. And like, I have real problems with sexual assault in books. I'm sure if you've watched any other videos where that's come up, you know that. I really hate it, but I especially hate it when it's so obviously unnecessary and you do it just as a sucker punch, or either you kill characters randomly or you have someone get raped. I think it's lazy. I think it's cruel. It's just like to throw that horrible, like one of the worst things that could ever happen to you, just to throw that in there. Like, for what I'm seeing so far is purposeless. I read another 10 chapters and it hasn't even come up, and I was looking up spoilers, and I don't know if it's just Hades that doesn't find out for this long or anybody, but it says that Hades doesn't find out until like chapter 96, and she gets raped on like chapter 22 or something. So like, does that happen and then it doesn't even come up again until later? And then I'm assuming Hades is going to get real mad and it's going to be about Hades' pain and not Persephone. Like, what's wrong with you? I can go on for a really long time about how much I hate this. And I'm going to choose not to, because I'm just going to make myself mad. I feel like all I ever do on this channel is be negative and sad and mad, and like, I don't enjoy that. Like, I went into Lord Olympus thinking I was really going to love it because I absolutely adore Greek mythology, and the author just threw that in there. And I have, at this point, given what I've seen of chapters afterwards, I have no faith that it's going to have any kind of purpose at all. She just did it. That's like, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for absolutely ruining what could have been cool. I read the first 30, 35 chapters, something like that, and I would have given it at least, I want to say, like 3.5, 4 stars, but I gave it 1 star on Goodreads because I was just like, it was so off-putting. Genuinely, if you can't figure out what to do in your story, don't just randomly throw a rape in there. And she's like 19 in the comics. I'm so mad. I'm going to stop talking about it. I'm going to talk about other things. Okay. Other things. Okay. I finished American Horror Stories. I've mixed thoughts. I know I'm just giving the creators what I know they want by talking about it, because I believe with my entire heart that episode 7 was made just to get people talking about the show and to purposely confuse them so they talk about it, and so it like causes not controversies but like conversation. And I'm just feeding into that, and I have to. Spoilers for American Horror Stories. I'm not really going to get into it because it's so confusing. Episode 7 was a mess. And like, I don't know exactly what they were going for. They made things happen that were like impossible. God, I don't know how to explain it without saying the whole thing, and I really don't want to, but like part of what they showed like wasn't real. Like some of the episode was like all meta, and it had people being like, we're gonna go stay in the murder house because we love the show American Horror Story. But the other episodes weren't like that. Like, it was in the universe of American Horror Story, even with a couple characters that had popped up. And I was just really confused. And then like it had stuff happen in episode 7, and then it turned out to have all been a video game, but then it ends with that reveal, and then but some of the stuff did happen. Oh my god, it's so confusing. If you watched it, you know. But it was a big old mess, which is American Horror Story has 2 settings, which is pretty good, and I can't believe this made it to air. And I would say that's episode 7, and this season overall feels like a pretty big waste of time. I wasn't very to any of the stories, and I guess I want to blame the fact that it's just because it's little anthology, so like 1 episode. Of course, you're not going to get attached to a character, but I really like the first 2. I thought the first 2 were pretty cohesive. And then all the rest of them felt like a complete waste. And if you want to watch that show, but you're watching it because of American Horror Story, you really only have to watch episodes 1 and 2 and 7, because the other ones are completely unrelated. They're just random little horror vignette kind of things, and they're not very good. Yeah, I didn't have a good time. I watched them all back to back, and I wish I hadn't. Anyway, okay. I'm reading A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I went on Amazon, and it's labeled as an erotica, but I didn't believe them because they also label like 50 Shades of Grey as erotica, and it's not. It's romance. There's a difference between erotica and a romance with like a lot of sex scenes in it. Like erotica is something specific, but Amazon mislabels stuff all the time. So I was like, okay, I'm assuming this is a romance because there's 3 books. And as far as I know, not a lot of erotica gets to be like a series. But, yeah, so I started it, and I don't want to be mean. I'm just mean all the time. God, I want to like something. But, yeah, okay, so I started it, and it feels like a Wattpad level story. No offense to this author. I would love to know how old she is. I'm going to guess 20, because, it just feels like one of the first. It's not terribly written. Like, the writing isn't bad, but the stuff happening is very cliche, and I understand it's a retelling, but just because it's a retelling doesn't mean you have to do like every single cliche. It's just very, I don't like Hades. He doesn't have a good personality. He's very bland, while at the same time like too domineering, not in like a fun way, because me and Sarah talked about like fun misogyny. This isn't that. This is like, he doesn't even seem misogynistic, just like, I don't know. It's just like, I have secrets that I can't tell you. I'm going to keep you at arm's length. Like that kind of thing. which is fine, I guess. I'm sure there's people, I mean, there's definitely a lot of people who love this, and that's fine. That's, if you like this kind of thing, great. I am not enjoying it. I'm going to finish it though, because I can't keep DNFing books. I'm still so upset about Lore Olympus. Oh my God. If you know if the sexual assault in Lore Olympus ever, like, matters, like, if does it have an impact in the story, please comment or something. I'm dying to know if she did it just for the shock value and to be sad, because, like, there's other ways you could, there's other ways you could be sad, right? Like, it's pretty easy to be sad. It's weird, like, there's a phrase, I don't know who said it, it's like, anyone can make him cry, but it takes a genius to make him laugh. And it's like, girl, if you wanted to be sad, it's not hard. I mean, you know that because you took the easiest way out you possibly could. So you're fully aware that it's super easy to be sad because you did the hackiest thing you possibly could. And maybe I'm a jerk. Maybe it totally has a meaningful purpose, and I just didn't read enough. And maybe it's important and impactful and really helpful, or it's not. And being a jerk by just throwing that in casually. I hate it. I hate how flippant so many people seem to be about it. And it's like, you should know better. Like, we should all know better at this point. Like, it really bothers me. This is another tangent. And I'll start. I do like Leigh Bardugo as a person and her writing. But everything she writes has sexual assault in it. And it's getting to the point where I don't even want to read her stuff. Like, that's why I didn't read Ninth House, because she's got a child, a little child. I think the kid's like 11, getting raped in that book. And then she, I think, gets raped a bunch more when she's older. And it's like, what do you do? Like, God, it's just miserable. And then Genya from Grisha, like, she was 13 or something, and she was given to the king for that. And it's like, you didn't need to put that in there. You could have, if you wanted her to be abused, you could have done anything else. And then, obviously, Six of Crows is the big one. Maybe not big. The one I know the most about with Inej being kidnapped when she's like 12 or 13 and being sold in sex slavery. And then going off on Kaz because he didn't want to have sex with her. And that always bothered me. It never seemed to bother other people. And she's like, I'll have you without armor or I won't have you at all. And it's like, why would you have someone who knows what it's like to be forced into just absolute awfulness of human touch, like just the worst spectrum it could be. And she's just like, Kaz, I won't be with you if you won't have sex with me. Like, did I read it wrong? Did I misinterpret it? Because it's just like, you got this character who you had be a sex slave as a child. And for the most part, she doesn't seem terribly bothered by it. Like, you have her mention once that she is afraid she'll see some of those men in town. And then she's pressuring Kaz, which is so gross. God, it bothers me so much. I see, I wasn't supposed to go back on this tangent. It's just like, I see one thing with sexual assault and it just sets me off with all the other times it bothered me. Which is why I'm so worried to read that Patricia Briggs. But Sarah promised me it wasn't that bad. And it, like, needed to happen or whatever. It had purpose of some, I don't know. I don't think, personally, unless specifically the story is about that, like, The Way I Used to Be, that book, unless that's what your story is about, honestly, I don't think rape is ever necessary for anything in a story. It just doesn't need to be there. Like, if you can't picture your story happening without rape, try harder, genuinely. There's always a way around it. You want something bad to happen to your character? Do something else. You have an evil bad guy and you want to show how evil he is? Do something else. I'm just so upset about Lore Olympus. Oh my God, I was looking forward to it so much. I've been meaning to read this for over a year, I think. And I was waiting because I knew it kept updating. And I thought, oh, the more I wait, the more episodes I'll have. And it'll be fun. I'll marathon. I'll read it like in 2 days. And now I don't even want to read more. But I really want to know if it has a purpose. But if it doesn't, it's just going to make me mad. It's like, okay. Back on my tangent about authors unnecessarily putting sexual assault in books. I will go to an example that, like, left me honestly, like, really upset for days. I have the book. It's A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. Okay. There's sexual assault in this book, this young adult Sherlock Holmes book, and it came out of nowhere, and I was really upset. I'll say what happens because, in case you, obviously spoilers. Okay. So the book starts, it's Jamie and Charlotte for, it's Sherlock Holmes, but like their descendants. And in the book, not even before, Charlotte gets raped by someone. He's like a bully on campus who harasses her, and he rapes her, and then he is found murdered. And the rape did absolutely nothing at all for the story, like zero. Like it happened, and then we don't know about it until a little later. Boy's body is found, and Charlotte and Jamie are brought in for questioning, and then the principal or whatever, maybe the investigator, is just like, well, we heard you were having, like you had sex with him. And she's like, yeah, I did. And then the detective guy is just like, okay, well, why? And she's like, well, it was actually rape. Like, you didn't ask if it was consensual or something. And it's like, okay. So, like, just thrown in there that she got raped. And then she doesn't mention it for the rest of the book. The rest of the book doesn't come up again. To the point, it's like, it was so random that I wondered if it got added in editing. Like, that seems like the kind of thing that could have happened because she, like, maybe got an idea for later books, because later books it does come up. I don't think in the second one, but in, I believe, the third one, A Case for Jamie, which I do have these books. I do like them despite that, but really despite them. It comes up again because Charlotte eventually gets a POV, and what it felt like to me, I don't want this to sound like harsh. This is my theory though. It felt like the author didn't have a good enough reason for Jamie and Charlotte to not get together, because her reasoning for not wanting to be with anybody, or like Jamie, was that she got sexually assaulted. And like, that's fine if that's your reasoning, but it didn't come up until then. Like, it happened and then never mentioned again for the rest of the book. And I don't think mentioned at all in the second book. And then all of a sudden in the third book, it's like, well, I like you, but I don't want to be with someone because I can't handle, like, being touched in that way. And then in the last book, Question of Holmes, Charlotte got a lot of the POV, and she was, like, thinking a lot about it. Like, the way it was handled was better as the books went on, but it was still very, I don't know, it just felt like she did it. And then she was like, either, oh, I got to do something with this, or she did it because she wanted that to be Charlotte's reasoning to not be with Jamie. But, you know, if Charlotte didn't want to be with Jamie, she could have just said that. She could have just, like, not wanted to be with him for other reasons. You don't have to throw in a rape. Like, these are young adult books, too. And it's like, I wouldn't necessarily want my 15-year-old, 16-year-old sister reading that. It just felt so unnecessary. It feels so unnecessary in so many books where it comes up. I'm very bitter, if you can't tell. It's 3 in the morning. The gentle tapping behind me is my rat drinking water. I need water. I need to probably go to sleep, actually. My TV went on the screensaver because I've been ranting, so. Okay, I'm going to keep reading other things. Probably not Lore Olympus. But yeah, I'm going to go to bed. So I'll check back in Tuesday proper.
The Governess Stand by Tessa Dare, and it's so much fun right now. The main character, Chase, he's the ward of 2 little girls, and he is in line to become a duke, because like everyone in the series has something to do with dukes. And he brings such a wonderful chaotic energy to it. It's great. And then the main female character, Alexandria, I believe is her name, just is having none of it, so it's funny. Like, their energy is perfect. It's great. So I might actually finish it today, because since I have an extra free room for the time being, I'm just kind of blasting through books. So yeah. Hey, Riffy. I am almost done with the governess game. Are you okay? You startled? What you doing? I'm almost done with the governess game. It was super fun. Like, I liked it a lot more than I even liked the first one. So I'm pretty hopeful I'll continue liking this series pretty well. I don't know what I'm going to be reading next. I probably won't start till tomorrow. But this book's probably going to get 4 stars. Did I ever mention what it was about? Basically, it's about a woman who... Hi, Wellesley. Who gets drafted into being a governess for 2 little girls who've been orphaned and are being taken care of by a duke in waiting. And they're morbid little girls, but really funny. And the duke is, like I said, he brings a lot of chaotic energy into this story, and I love it. I'm here for it. But yes, I think all the stories in this are similar, just because, like, you know how romances go, like series, they have very similar plots usually. So if you don't like that thing, obviously romance isn't for you. But yes, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I'm starting Friday Night Bites today. That's the next one. What are you doing, Sailor? What are you doing? Okay. Wanna come say hi? That's the next book in the Chicagoland Vampire series. I read the first one like last week or the week before, I can't remember. Probably a good thing that I have so much reading time available. What are you doing? You weirdo. So much reading time available to me right now. She is just like going to town on this rag. I don't... You goofy girl. But yes, the second in the Chicagoland Vampire series. I can't remember what the plot of this one is, but Merritt, still freshly a vampire, still learning to navigate vampire worlds. That's pretty much the gist. I think it probably has something to do with the bad guy from book 1, but I don't remember. I also got 4 books from the library yesterday, so... You doing a little bit? About halfway through Friday Night Bites. I'm enjoying it well enough so far. Vampire doing raves or something? Vampire raves? So far, Merritt's just going to parties with her family and dealing with like her expo. What are you doing? What are you doing? Still a fun series. But, oh, speaking of Merritt, Bear! Still a fun series, but this one is a little bit boring. I remember from the first time I read it, there were some that just were more entertaining than others, some that were more frustrating than others, so I'm not surprised. Mommy babies. But yeah, I'll be continuing this reread even after I finish this one. I'll hopefully finish it tomorrow. It does one of those things that I really don't like, which is too many pop culture references, and the reason I don't like it is because it ages the book. Sometimes like milk, like me mentioning celebrity couples and stuff is always a bad idea, but then like also like having your character talk about like Gossip Girl, which is something that happened here. Willow. And in some ways you can just really tell the influences. Like Chloe Neal has said herself that she took like a lot of the stuff she liked from other books and stories and just kind of mushed them together to create her own vampire lore in her own story. And sometimes you can really tell. Like Mallory, it feels like Mallory is supposed to be a Willow stand-in, but sassier. And like later on in the series, it becomes pretty obvious. And then it has things like shutters that roll over the windows, which is something that happens in J.R. Word. And it's stuff like that, which doesn't really bother me since I do read a lot of those. So it's just like, it's kind of fun picking out the things she... Hi. Is it because I'm saying your name a lot? The things she's done that I've seen in other things is kind of fun. But at the same time, some of the stuff, it's just like a little much. Like Mallory and the things that happen with her later in the series. So, 'tis what it is.
Okay. Hold on. I gotta become a clown.
Have a mint. Get over it.
I don't have a mint.
Do you want one?
No. Ask me questions. And I'll answer them.
Children. I have to be very careful right now because if Wicket comes over here, it is a short distance to Miss Murder Pants.
Queen already has a giant scratch on her back from a
Tuffle?
A fight with her little little non-alpha sister.
Rats scuffle a lot. Usually not a big deal.
Yeah, Wicket just doesn't have a lot of fur, so the scratch this time was pretty bad. It's fine. I liked it clean. Do you have questions to ask me or no?
No, this is just kind of like our midweek check-in.
I read last night.
Huh?
Almost done with Cry Wolf. Novella first, and then I went into the book. And I don't understand why the novella wasn't part of the book, because if you don't read that first, you're wildly confused. Nothing makes sense, and you're like, so they're mates, but they've known each other 3 days, and what?
Yeah.
Not that reading the novella, my problem with it, I was disappointed to find that they were already together when the book started, and that them getting together was just him being like, my wolf picked you, and she's like, okay, guy, I don't know.
So basically, the novella, I think, came out like a couple years before the book. It was part of an anthology.
Well, yeah, I knew it was in something else.
And then they said, hey, you want to write another series? And she was like, yeah, okay.
But in that situation, would you not, rework the novella to maybe stretch those events out? Or you could, the novella plot, in theory, could have been the plot of a book if you had, made it longer, right? Kind of? Well, you could have made it killing that pack could have been.
She probably just didn't want to, redo that story. She's not the kind of author who I feel like could enjoy rewriting the same story.
It just, was a little off-putting that they were already together, and then, but not really, and then you go in the book, and it's like, okay, so they're not really together. The wolf has picked her as a mate, but technically, they're not together, but then there's no conflict whatsoever of them again. It was just, kind of matter-of-fact thing, which some people like, and that's fine. I don't.
Don't worry, there's levels to Mercy's relationship.
Oh my god. Okay, so I was, liking Cry Wolf okay. I was enjoying it fine. I'm gonna read the other ones. But then the guy from the Mercy Thompson series popped up and he mentioned Mercy, and I was like, I'd rather be reading that. I like you immediately. And the other characters are, kind of bland.
Samuel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Samuel.
He kept calling her Mercedes, and I was just like, okay. Because I know I assume that's her name.
Yeah.
But, he pops up, and, in a couple lines, he had more personality than I felt like Charles had. And I don't know if that's on purpose with Charles. It probably is.
It is. Okay.
Ma'am.
It is on purpose. The books get better. Cry Wolf and Hunting Ground are not as good as Fair Game.
I'm going to stick with it, because I kind of, assume as much, but I'm almost done with Cry Wolf. So I've got an hour left. I had to go to bed because it was 5 in the morning. But, yeah, I like it so far. I got a question. You've read a lot of the Patricia Briggs, right?
I read all of them.
Does she have the main character get raped in everything she writes?
No.
Just these two?
Not just these two, but she has, I think... Okay, so there's 2 series and then, one standalone other than this series that she's done. And one of them... that happens, but not the others.
So most of the stuff she's written, she's got the main character get raped?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a little weird, right?
Yeah, well...
It's just, an easy thing to do, I guess. It's just, let's have the character get raped as their backstory, or as a mean thing the villain can do.
Yeah,
I think that's so lazy.
I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but, it is what it is. It's, a lot of authors do that. It's not something you can escape. I mean, even Sean McGuire has...
Like, she doesn't do rape as a rule, but even she has something that is, it is rape.
She just doesn't consider it rape?
So in Indexing, which is 2 books that she did for Amazon as a serial, the main character's mom was, it's like fairy tales. Basically, it's kind of hard to explain, but basically everyone has a story based on a fairy tale and like you're stuck in that story. And the main character's mom was it Sleeping Beauty? Basically, the main character's mom was in a coma when she got pregnant by a doctor. So it's rape. But it doesn't happen within the story. It's just the character's backstory.
So the Shauna Maguire guarantee is a lie?
I guess.
Thanks, Shannon. I don't know. I wasn't like...
It can be incredibly exhausting.
I wasn't like necessarily super put off by it with Anna, but when I read that, I was like... Because it's just like, of course, what's a really terrible thing that could have happened to her that would break her spirit? This easy thing. And that's what they did. And that's always what they do. The easiest thing. And, like, it kind of doesn't necessarily make sense that she's supposed to be this wildly powerful werewolf.
That's not what it is.
No?
No, Omegas aren't wildly powerful. They exist. It explains it more in Hunting Ground, but they exist outside the pack structure. So basically the type of werewolf they are just helps other werewolves calm down. So they're not powerful, but they're not submissive.
Okay. It's just like, I don't know. I was just a little, I was fed up, I guess, with it. Because it's just like, so you have Mercy get raped, and you also have this girl's backstory be that she used to get passed around as a reward to a bunch of werewolf guys who apparently all had no problems raping a person. Like, okay, is that easy to find just like a group of people who are just absolutely fine, like, for spending for years raping the same girl?
Well,
is it a werewolf thing?
No, it's not. The thing with werewolves is you are...
Do you see that? You see her in the Pop-Top box?
The thing with werewolves in the Mercy Thompson series is that they are completely incapable of refusing the alpha's orders, like, magically.
And he ordered them to rape her?
Mm-hmm. But
she was supposed to be a reward. If she's a reward, why is he ordering them?
Yeah, so the other thing with that pack in particular was that the alpha's mate, she made a lot of them on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't teach them how to be proper werewolves, so they're just, like, bad people.
Like, I understand there's, like, an explanation for it. I was just, like, again with this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how you get you on the Pop-Tart box. It's also not, like, completely unreasonable that a group of really powerful men with only a couple of women do bad.
Jesus Christ. Ugh. I'm just tired. Can I have an urban fantasy series that doesn't have rape as...
Chicagoland Vampires.
Is that the Chloe Neal?
Yeah, there's absolutely no sexual assault.
Really?
As far as my memory is telling me, yeah. It's like, it feels very YA, but with adult themes.
Do you still like those?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the second one. I was talking to them about it this morning. I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. It didn't age very well, but...
Oh boy, we want to talk about aging. I'm almost done with Cry Wolf, and it's like... Okay, alright, I get it. In that time, I still don't know technically what the right thing is to call Native Americans, because I've heard different things.
Yeah.
And because I've heard they prefer, like, American Indian, and some probably do, and then some probably prefer Native American, so, like, it's gonna be, some people are okay with some things, and some people aren't okay with other things. I say Native American, like, naturally.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
I do too.
I wish I knew if there was, like, a more widely considered preference. But, yeah. So hearing that, I mean, like, there's nothing, like, as far as I've seen that seems racist. I'm listening on, like, 2.5 speed, but, like, I haven't seen anything, like, racist. It's just strange to hear that.
There's mild stuff within the series. Like, you'll get to it where you're just like, you shouldn't have said that, but you have to also keep in mind she was, like, in her 50s.
Oh.
Like, she's, like, in her 50s or 60s now, I think. So, like, she was in her 40s or early 50s with this, I think. But, yeah. But, Chloe Neal is a safe bet. She doesn't do that kind of stuff.
I might try it, because I think I tried to read those before, but I didn't. I stopped because I was like, oh, she's already a vampire when it starts, and that irritated me or something.
Aging poorly thing is she makes a lot of pop culture references that, like, she mentions Brad and Angelina. I'm just like, oh, I bet you wish you didn't do that now.
It's too bad she's not mentioning Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, because they're back together, which is like a real blast from my childhood. Like, oh my goodness.
And then it's just like, certain things you wouldn't see in any book nowadays. Just like, okay.
Well, there's some stuff, though, in Cry Wolf that I really didn't like considering. And, like, at the point he didn't know she had been raped, he had the thought of, like, I want to take her here with her, like, even if she doesn't want it. Like, he specifically was, like, with her without her consent.
Was that in the novella?
Yeah.
I think that's before she had a firm grasp on what Charles's personality is.
And then later on, which is just off-putting, because after he did know about the sexual assault, he was like, I want you to be my mate. She's like, okay, but, like, I don't like sex. And he's like, you'll like it with me. And it's like, dude, shut your mouth.
Yeah,
like, okay, cool.
Ace people weren't a widely known thing back then, I don't think.
It's not even that. If she hadn't been raped, I wouldn't have a problem. It's like that he knew she had been raped at that point, and he's like, oh, despite the fact that you've been raped and traumatized through sex,
it's that
you
kind
like
of,
it with me. And
it's that
like,
kind
maybe
of cockiness that used to be in urban fantasy and YA a ton, where it's just like, oh, I know I'm good at what I do.
I'm so good that I can, like, I can undo trauma from years of sexual abuse. Sure you can, Charles. You can't even keep me entertained, but yeah, you can definitely do this. And then you get to the sex scene, and, like, it's just whatever. And she says, like, oh yeah, the first time it was, like, hard and fast. And it's like, that sounds great. Oh my god, we all love a jackhammering, don't we? It's just like, cool. So it didn't even seem like she especially enjoyed it. It was just like, it happened so fast that it was just like, okay, I guess I'll take your word for it. And then I did like, though, that didn't seal the mate bond. That's one thing I genuinely liked, is that he thought it would, and then he's like, uh-oh. I did like that.
Yeah.
But, just some bumpy parts, but I like it fine. I assume the ones that come out now, if they're still coming out, are they?
Yeah.
I assume those ones aren't going to have that kind of stuff. And I also assume his personality is going to get developed, because right now he feels like he doesn't have any personality.
Yeah, I'd say he's definitely better now, but it's hard for me to say just because I've been reading this series for so long and I've read it so many times that, like, I'm too deep into it to really say.
Like,
because, like, I don't remember Charles not having a personality, because when I read that book, having read so many of them, I see the personality.
He just seems very stoic, and, like, he doesn't really react to much of anything. It's just like, I love my mate. His whole personality is wife guy, but not even necessarily, like, in a fun way, but just in a, this is me. Describe Charles without describing his job or personality. Loves wife. Like, it was very, like, Qui-Gon.
I mean, he is stoic, and he has, like, a dark sense of humor. He's very spiritual.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming, I'm giving it some grace here, because
not only a dark sense of humor, but I'd say a wry sense of humor. I can describe Charles without mentioning his job.
Did you have Qui-Gon?
No.
But, like, I'm giving it grace because I'm assuming it's going to improve, because that's how every series is like, in the first one, the author doesn't fully know who they are yet, and, like, that's not their fault necessarily, that just comes with time. So I'm assuming by, like, book 4, it's going to be great. But, like, as of right now, my mission was to try and get, like, all the Patricia Briggs books in hardcover that I could, and, like, I don't know if I should try super hard for these ones, just because I'm not, like, in love right now. But I still feel like I should pick them up if I see them. Because maybe I will. Maybe I will love it. Because I like it fine.
It's not a bad investment.
I mean, I like it okay so far. The covers are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, they are.
They are stunning. I'm assuming I'm going to really like Mercy Thompson, because her mate was on screen for no seconds. And I was just like, can I follow you? You're leaving? Can I go with you to this place? And I couldn't. I had to stay with Charles and his, like, super bland personality that needs to finish cooking. But, are you just, like, dropping the camera?
Yeah, Wicked is...
I'm in the middle of Sailor's free roam right now, but in a minute I'm going to be doing some stuff with these cages. I switch the towels out every couple of days so it doesn't smell too bad. She's reacting because I'm talking. Sweet little baby. Well, maybe not sweet. She's been scent marking like everything this morning because I cleaned. Do you want to be on camera? No? Okay. But I'm still in the middle of Some Girls Bite. I should finish that today. Not Some Girls Bite. Friday Night Bites by Chloe Neal. I'm liking it pretty well still. Probably only gonna get like 3 stars though. Not my favorite entry into the series, but we'll see. Hi, baby. She's going nuts. I'll update you a little bit later when I finish it. Okay. I am done with Friday Night Bites. 3 stars is probably pretty accurate for the way I felt about it. It had some themes in it that I didn't particularly like, and it did some things that at the time was fine, but aged really poorly. Like the power dynamics between Ethan and Merritt are just a little off. He's the master of the vampire house she's a part of. And, yeah, when she didn't care about his power, it didn't matter. But in this book, she said things that made it clear that the way he viewed her, because he is her master, did matter, which makes any romantic overtures a little uncomfortable to read. But it's still pretty good. Like, the themes of racism start in this book, and I don't think they're handled poorly necessarily, but it's still like very little nuance. But I know later in the series things shift and change, so I'm just kind of holding out for those books where it's handled a little bit better. And no, I can't remember about the racism, but like the Ethan stuff is handled better. I know that. Hopefully the racism stuff is also handled better. But yeah, 3 stars is fair. I don't know what I'm starting next. I'll tell you tomorrow.
Okay. So it's 3 in the morning and I didn't do an update tonight. It's Thursday night. I should have done an update though, and I'll do a proper one in the morning, but I'm putting this in here because I just decided something. And I'll elaborate on this a little more, I think, in the next clip. I'm bad at, like, I keep trying to, like, make goals and stick with them, and it's not really working out. I'm just reading other things. That being said, I just was struck with inspiration on what I want to do next, because, like, right now I'm trying to get through the Patricia Briggs books. I read 2 of them. But in between those, because I'm stuck waiting for the library to get the 3rd one, I'm going to read the James Bond books by Ian Fleming. And the best part is I'm not telling Sarah. She's going to find out because I'm going to send her this footage and she's going to watch it. And that's what she's going to find out. So hello, Sarah. My new mission is to read the James Bond books. And I already downloaded the first one in the library, so you'll be hearing a lot about that. I can say it's completely the fault of the Killed James Bond podcast, because, like, I have to do that. I've never seen a James Bond movie and I've never read one of the books, but I'm going to read all the books, hopefully. And yeah, that's probably going to go terribly, but you know, we'll find out. Yay.
Okay, so the next book is Fair Game. It's kind of funny because I don't do much videoing or vlogging or whatever you want to call it on the weekends, because on Saturday I have to clean the cages every other Saturday, but it takes me 3 hours and I just don't want to do this when I'm in the middle of cleaning cages. But so, like, it feels like every time I start a new Patricia Briggs, it is either Friday or Sunday. And because when I clean the cages I listen to music. And then the Saturdays I'm not cleaning the cages, I'm still doing like a ton of work in them because I have to change litter boxes, change the hammocks, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's just kind of funny. I feel like you hardly ever get any Patricia Briggs content, even though I'm reading all of them right now. But yeah, I'm starting Fairground by Patricia Briggs. It's the 3rd in the Alpha and Omega series, and according to Goodreads, the 9th in the Mercy Thompson universe. In this one, Charles is dealing with the consequences of the werewolves coming out to the public, like the emotional consequences of it, and Anna is trying to help him, all while trying to also avoid a political snafu. Yeah, good description. It is one of my favorites of the series, if I'm being honest. It's one of the first ones I read and like really connected with, because it started with Alpha and Omega because it was easier to get those books than to get the Mercy Thompson books at the time. Sailor's rearranging things. She's trying to hide the rag again. I don't know why she does that. Well, I wish you luck, my dear. But yeah, so it's one of my favorites. I enjoy it quite a bit, so I am about halfway through a fair game. I'm still enjoying it. Sorry, we needed a Walsey break. Look at her face. Alright, anyway, I'm sorry. She's done. She just ran. Walsey's very skittish. She's a rescue, and she's just like... And she's just never gotten used to humans. Like, she's okay with me, but pretty much everyone else is like a no-go. And even sometimes with me, if I'm talking too much, she gets a little scared. But yeah, she's a good baby. She's my little baby. But yeah, okay, I'm halfway through Fair Game, roughly. I'm enjoying it a lot, like I knew I would, because it's Patricia Briggs. And yeah, Charles, I like this book a lot because of Charles's emotional arc, because it's not so cut and dry. He's not like no one in this series is a cut and dry character. It's never plain or easy to predict what they're going to do or say, except for the instances where it should be. You know what I mean? It's complicated to try and explain, I suppose. But everyone is a fully realized character. Like I've said it before, like I've said that before specifically, but Charles and Anna are also fully realized characters. Anna is a little bit more boring in my opinion, but I still like her a lot. Like, she and Charles are a good foil to each other. He's big, tough, stoic dude, and she's like a calm, centered, jokey woman, and like I like it. I love it. And this is also a pivotal point in the series. Like, this book kicks off the next leg of the series pretty hard. So this is the 9th book overall. And I think at this point there's three, right? It's Dead Heat, Burn Bright, and Wild Sign, I think. So I think it's like halfway through Alpha and Omega. And then there's, oh, I don't know, 8 more Mercies, I think. So it's about halfway through the series. And currently there's no end to the series, which is great. I would be happy if the series continued forever, but
yeah. Okay. Cappie is holding the camera, but she's also a corpse, so I'm doing the outro.
Thank you. Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. We will see you in the next one. And just because I'm a good friend, bon voyage.
Thank you.